Good morning, Detachment 842. I am Cadet Fiorentini, and today with us we have Staff Sergeant Taylor.
Hello, hello.
Morning, Staff Sergeant Taylor. How you doing?
Amazing. How about yourself?
Doing good, sir. So throughout this podcast, we just kind of want to get to know you, all about you, so that all the cadets can, feel like they know you before if they haven't even met you.
That works.
So first, we're going to start off with the introduction, some AFSC questions, previous assignments, Detachment 842, and then some closing statements in the end.
Okay.
Alrighty, sir. So first question, could you please introduce yourself? Oh, wait, no, we already did that. We already did that. We don't need to go over that. The second question, so why the Air Force? How did you end up serving in this branch?
I decided I wanted to join the military when I was at the end of my 10th grade year. Funny enough, I didn't want to go to college, so I joined the Air Force, and that's the branch that wants you to go to college the most. So in 2019, I ended up getting my CCAF in business admin. So
What's CCAF?
Community College of the Air Force.
Okay.
So, degree with the and all that. Pretty much it specializes in whatever career field you're in, and that's what business admin is the degree for my AFSC 3/5, the administration career field.
3/5. Okay. So when you're going to college in the Air Force, are you going to a separate college? Is it the Air Force's college that they have at each base or something?
Right. So it's the CCAF is at Maxwell Air Force Base.
Okay.
And pretty much everyone usually gets their degree through that one, going to different colleges all over the country, and they just transfer the credits over, and that's how they get their CCAF.
Okay.
With me, it was actually interesting because I took most of my college classes in high school, so I was able to do the dual enrollment program. And by the time I graduated high school, I had 44 credits.
Oh, wow.
Or whatever. So yeah, I had to clip 2 or 3 classes and then take another 2 classes. But that took me 2 years. So
Okay.
but chose the Air Force. My mom was in the Air Force for 4 years. Dad was in the Marines for 8, and stepdad was in the Army for 26. So I pretty much know military. And everyone and anyone that's in the military always told me to go to the Air Force. I always tell people, my worst danger is a paper cut at the moment. So I like it.
Right. What was their background in the military?
Stepdad, he was MP, military police. My mom, she was ATC, air traffic control.
Okay, nice.
I actually got picked up for that job, but I denied it. It was too stressful or whatever. And so, and then I can't remember I think my dad was also pretty much military police as well, in Marines or infantry or something like that.
Okay. So where are you from?
Albany, Georgia.
Albany, Georgia.
Yeah, Southwest Georgia. They call it the Good Life City. That's our nickname. It's not bad. If anyone knows where Fort Benning is in Columbus, it's an hour and a half from there. So it's one of the bigger bases near us.
Okay. What was your childhood like growing up?
I was a big gamer. I was always just playing video games and stuff. I was throwing my controller around, stupid stuff like that. But I would play 2K, FIFA, all those. I used to really like sports games. That was the biggest thing for me. So
I've always been a big Call of Duty person.
yeah,
Yes.
I'm into that now. And Warzone and all that.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
So how did you get here? Why this assignment? Why DET 842?
This was actually the third go around of me trying to get an assignment. So I only had one assignment before. I was in Germany for the last 4 years, and I wanted to stay overseas, and I wanted to go to Korea. And my first go around, didn't get picked up. They have enlistment cycles, pretty much where they have a list of jobs available for your career field, and if you want to go there, you can volunteer for it, but you might not get it because the Air Force might want you to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't get picked up the first time, so I extended in Germany for another year. So I was supposed to be there for 3 years, so I extended another year so I can pay it again, try and get Korea. Didn't happen, and the Air Force has a thing called AMS, Assignment Management System, and pretty much it's even more particular in terms of like jobs, different jobs. They put out advertisements and saying, hey, we really like this staff sergeant at this place or whatever. And they had a bunch of ROTC jobs available from my career field. And I was like, that would be awesome. I'm like 22 working at a college. It's pretty nice. And I originally got picked up to go to Texas A&M, but they cut my position off because they wanted a master sergeant. And so Chief Martinez, she's like the chief of the Southwest region. She emailed me and says, hey, I know we cut your assignment off, but what can we do to help out? Where would you like to go? And I chose this place. And she was like, all right, the next day I got my orders. So
nice. So what made you pick San Antonio?
It was the Ricey with the biggest city. Like all the other ones are like really small places in like Minnesota or whatever. Right. So I was like, all right. I was here for basic training, and I was like, I guess I would like to actually see the city for what it is. So
nice. Yeah, I've lived here in San Antonio my whole life.
Really?
Ever since I was born 2000. So I'm going into the Air Force and ready to get out. No, I could honestly stay here forever if I really wanted to. I love San Antonio.
Yeah, I've been venturing out. It's a really nice city. The thing I like the most about it, like the people here are pretty awesome. I've been able to meet some pretty cool people here so far.
So talk about your assignment in Germany. What was that like?
It was awesome. I always say it was awesome BC before COVID. But I got there 18 years old, not knowing what to do. But it was really cool. I was able to meet a lot of the locals there. I worked with one of the local nationals, one of the Germans there. Through him, I met a bunch of other German people. It was awesome. Base was Geilenkirchen NATO base. Not many people know about it. It's a real small place. A lot of people call it the hidden gem. I do too. We had 16 different countries on the base where I was at, and including the U.S. as one of the countries. And my squadron, what we were there for, was to help all of the U.S. and NATO people flying the planes and stuff. So it was an air base squadron. So pretty much it's kind of like a mini wing where we have a bunch of different AFSCs or career fields. We had 36 different AFSCs in there. So we had from finance to TMO to medical to like housing, all that type of stuff. So I was able to meet a lot of different people from different career fields and like broaden my knowledge of what the Air Force really is and how we all come together and like serve that purpose. It was awesome. While I was there, I was able to travel to 14 different countries. It was an amazing time.
What was your favorite country?
My favorite, I always have a tie. So it's either Croatia or Portugal. Portugal, I was actually TDY there as a security forces augmentee. So I was pretty much working with the security forces team there. We had exercise out there. And hands down, the most serene month of my life. It was so peaceful. That was my first time working like 12-hour shifts and like the 3 and 2, 3 days on, 2 days off, things like that. And honestly, there's nothing better than waking up on a Wednesday and being off. That's like amazing. But yeah, the wine was great there. The people were awesome. Like the people there are probably the best people I've ever met in Europe. I love the Portuguese people. But also Croatia, I took a 2-week road trip there. And that'll always be a fun trip in my life because only thing I planned was my ticket there, my ticket back, and my rental car. Mm-hmm. And I didn't plan anything else, no hotels, nothing. I didn't know where I was staying until the day of, and just planned it by ear. It was awesome.
So what's, for us cadets that might be based in Germany, what's one thing that you wish you would have known before you were at Germany that you figured out when you were there, kind of?
How small the roads were. There's like I don't know why they make the roads so small. I'm pretty sure they had something to do with like the war and all that type of stuff. But like if you really like big trucks, it's gonna be really hard for you to navigate through there. So a lot of people would like either sell their car before a lot of people knew that beforehand, but they would sell their car before and then get a smaller car and all that type of stuff. Plus gas is like really expensive there. We pay like the average, $3-4 a gallon. They pay like, jeez. Well, in America, but in there, they pay by the liter. So it's like maybe $7-8 a gallon. Oh, yeah, man. So it's pretty bad. But Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things people don't realize until they get there.
Okay. Um, so in regards to your AFSC, did you receive the AFSC you wanted when you enlisted? If not, how did you not overcome an AFSC that you didn't initially plan for?
This was actually like number 4 on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really happy to get it. Like I said before, I got picked up for air traffic control. Yeah, but I was looking it up and it was like, yeah, it's like one of the most like suicidal freaking jobs or whatever in the Air Force and all that type of stuff. So I was like, I don't think I want that. And so my objective coming in was to get a desk job, and this is exactly it. So
nice. Are you planning to cross train into another AFC maybe some point down the line?
Cross training, no. I think there's still a lot about my career field I still need to figure out or at least learn. I'm looking forward to doing that. So I have no plans to cross train in the future.
Okay, so let's talk about like your previous assignments again. Did you ever cultivate a mentorship or a close relationship with a senior NCO or an officer at a previous assignment?
Yes, I did. I made an objective, like maybe halfway through there. If I saw something that I liked about an officer or a senior NCO, I would take them out for lunch. Just, hey, I really like this about you. And no matter what anybody else says, people always talk. You know? And then they would always be like more than willing to share and take the moment to just sit down, eat, and chat about life and the career field and all that type of stuff, or their career and how they overcame certain obstacles. I always ask them one of 2 questions. One is if you could go back to when you were my age or you was in like my part, I guess, where I'm at in their career, what would you do differently, pretty much. And that always brings interesting conversations. And then also another one is what was one big moment, like turning point in your career so far, like a big moment that you always think back to and say, thank God that happened, or whether it's good or bad and just helped you out. And that's got some really cool things. I'm big on learning from other people's experiences, so I always take the time to do that. It's very beneficial.
So you mentioned your mentors and how like you really looked up to them. What attributes did they have that you really liked that made you like want to go out to eat with them and like ask them those questions?
It's many different things. I like to draw from a lot of people. So one of the bigger ones was my chief back in my last base. He was real like just open, and one of his big things that I always try to take with me now is you spend legit the majority of your time at work, 8, 12 hours, like 40 hours a week at work. You might as well make it a good environment. So take the time to get to know the person next to you. Make sure like they felt like thought about, like every time I got a haircut, he would always, oh hey, nice haircut. Like take the time to make sure that you're being noticed, you know? Every time, it never failed. That was pretty awesome. And I sat him down, I was like, hey, but like, how did you come to this? What made you want to do that? And he said basically through past leadership or just things that he wanted better out of like his past leadership and stuff like that. But then there's also the people that a lot of people might see as like a hard ass or just really like strict. But then I would sit down and talk with them too. It was like, well, like in the nice way, like what made you want to, like what's your thought process in terms of leadership and all that type of stuff? And it brought some real good conversations. Just some people might be like putting the mission first, or just making sure if you're strict and hardly anything goes wrong. People hate it, but things run smoothly at the end of the day. So things like that.
Right. Do you have any office horror stories that you can share with us?
Office horror stories. Yeah, I think November last year, I was in charge of putting up a commander's call. Usually our first sergeant would do it, but she passed it down to the CSS, because usually the CSS was supposed to be doing the commander support staff. We're supposed to be doing that, but she was doing it for a time and she put it back on us. But that was my first time being there when that happened. And so I pretty much did it myself, tracking down the people, like tracking down the building, hey, we need to do that, we need to do this, and getting the plaques. Because we were such a small base, like for all the awards and stuff, I had to travel down to Spangdahlem, like 2 hours away, to go and spend the whole day down there just to get into plaques and stuff like that. And did all that, and I thought everything was going smoothly. And then by the time we get there, we got everything but the flags, and so we started like 15 minutes late because someone had to go back and get the flags, and then there were some typos in the script, and it was not as bad as I'm making it seem, but in my mind it was a horror story when it finally happened. Big thing I learned from that is learn to kind of depend on the people around you more. A lot of people, yeah, I think I can take this on, and then by the time you get there, you realize you really needed some help. So.
How can we as officers positively impact or negatively impact the morale of enlisted folks when acting in a supervisor role?
That's a good question. Let me see. I would say the biggest thing is demeanor. A lot of people, they don't really choose to go to the officers or because of just demeanor. A lot of times people have real bad like first impressions, and I'm trying to get the thoughts. So usually whether you're like a flight commander or a squadron commander, like people look to you for leadership, guidance, and stuff like that. And so if something like goes down here, people have like those horror stories, they look to you guys to make sure that their things are on the right track. If they see that you're freaking out, then of course they're going to be freaking out. So making sure you keep a soft, like peaceful demeanor, and just never being like too razzled by many different things, you know.
So this is one question that's kind of off script, but I want to ask it. What's like the difference of like the best officer you met and then like the worst officer you met, and how like what were those differences, so that like what were they like to you, basically? Like, oh, this officer was this and that, and then this officer was this and that this person was in your best category and this person was in your worst category.
Actually, funny thing is, I think is the same person for me. Mm-hmm. So when I first met this one officer that I was with this last duty station, she seemed just real, like, just didn't care about the people, was only care about the work, and just real, just bad demeanor, just stuck up. That's what it seemed like, or whatever. And so pretty much I would hear the horror stories from her people that reported to her. Yeah, she did this, and that, and it's just bringing the whole morale down across the whole flight. And I was working in the post office at the time, so I didn't really see much of it. But then I started working in the CSS, and I would work hand in hand with all the flight commanders for the commander, and just making sure things go smoothly. And then I would see like all the background work that she did. Like whenever we had a staff meeting, she would be the one fighting for her people. Say, hey, no, my people are doing this every day, all day. Like, we need help. We need someone else besides our flight to go and do this. We're stretched too thin. Mm-hmm. Telling that to she was a first lieutenant, telling that to our like lieutenant colonel, and just because that's her job, pretty much, to stand up for her people. And I thought that was like very admirable. Just making sure, yeah, you might be a tight ass sometimes, but you have a reason for it. And then when it comes around to where you know when your people has had enough, being able to stick your chest out and make sure that your voice is being heard and saying, hey, we need to take a break, or we need to do this and that, because that's what's best for our people.
That's pretty cool. So like one side of her, that was kind of like your like the cover of the book, yeah. But then once you saw the behind the scenes, it kind of made sense in a way.
Right.
Okay, that's cool. What were with the previous assignment again, what were your favorite and least favorite things about the work culture at your previous assignment?
The best thing is because there was like not that many people there. We're all like a really close-knit family, pretty much. So you pretty much saw everyone on base almost every day because it was just that small. Mm-hmm. And pretty much knowing that you have someone to talk to, knowing who people are, their families, their kids, that's pretty awesome. But at the same time, it was kind of like the worst thing, because sometimes you can't really do anything without everyone knowing. So
Oh,
it's just,
okay.
the word of mouth gets around like that, and so that's about it.
So now let's talk about Detachment 842. When it comes to working with us, the cadets, what was the greatest piece of advice your predecessors have given you?
They've always told me just have an open ear, because like at the end of the day, you never know what people are going through. Just trying to make sure that at least I have an open ear for them. If anyone ever needs to talk, the door is always open. I'm always here to help out and give some advice if I can, or point you in the right direction. So that's probably the biggest thing that I look forward to upholding.
Right, because a lot of cadets, like just me, throughout the years, I've seen cadets like drop out of the program, but then like afterwards, like it's for a reason that like I didn't know till afterwards or
Right.
something, and I'm like, dang, I never even knew this person was going through that. So yeah, definitely, if you're going through anything, like feel free to talk to Cadre for sure.
Without a doubt. Yeah, every day I try and get out the office and just go to either the lounge or anything. Hey, how's it going? How's everybody? Just try and check out.
So when you came to our detachment, what was your first impression of the Cadet Corps?
I would say on point. Like, it was pretty awesome. I remember one of the first emails, I was like emailing one of the cadets. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I forgot it. But they had emailed me, and it was like, hey, Sergeant Taylor, just the Sergeant Taylor, and I need this and that. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do this, that, and get it done. And then in my signature part, put Staff Sergeant Taylor. And then he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were a staff sergeant. I didn't mean to like disrespect you or anything like that. It's like, no, it's not disrespectful. It's pretty much the same thing, just an abbreviation or whatever. Like, for you in the Army, it's different because it's two different ranks.
Mm.
But like just that small thing, him taking the time out to say, hey, my bad, I didn't mean to do that. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Like, you don't really see that every day. So.
Right. So like really considerate cadets.
Right. Yeah.
About their work. Yeah, I would say most people in this detachment push their limits and work harder than what they would expect, I think.
Right.
I remember when I came into the program, you know, I did not expect like the amount of work that came outside of the hours I was supposed to be at the detachment.
Right.
Like, I'm supposed to be at PT in this time, Lee Lab at this time, and then class at this time. Before I joined the program, I did not expect like all the work outside of that goes into making this detachment run.
Right.
So yeah. So kind of the same question. What was your? I was gonna say, what is your impression of the culture here at Detachment 842?
Well, yeah, the culture here is pretty awesome. In between the cadets and the cadre, I think I'm really gonna enjoy being here. Like I was saying before, I'm real big on the work environment. If you hate coming to work, then of course it's not gonna be good for anyone around you. But if everyone here takes time to like make it enjoyable and make it like fun working here, or making it something that you want to do, then it just makes life that much easier. It's almost like it's not work at that point.
Right.
So I feel like you guys do a really good job with that, and hopefully I can try and keep that up.
Okay. What are you excited about to do here at this detachment?
Honestly, get to know you guys, really. I think that's like the coolest thing ever. Being able to at least have a hand in the future leaders of the Air Force and just of the world too, because unfortunately not everyone makes it, but hopefully we do a good job of still breeding leaders without you going into the Air Force. So I think that's one of like the coolest things ever. So it's
So just making an impact on our lives.
Right.
Nice. Has there been any particularly demanding parts of your job currently?
Currently, not necessarily. Like the last month or so, I've been doing nothing but like trainings, which is so much like PowerPoint by death. But other than that, like not at the moment.
So what kind of trainings are they?
So I spent most of it doing like DTS training. So pretty much when you guys go to field training, I'll be in charge of booking all the travel and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so that goes with you guys getting paid and making sure the flights are right and all that type of stuff. So if there's anything wrong with that, then a lot of it I'm like financially like responsible for, which is crazy. So definitely took my time with that one. Then there's things like security manager stuff, all the security clearances, and just then all the small things like equipment custodian, making sure everything's good to go, and I think VCO is what I'm also doing, vehicle control officer. So a lot of different trainings, but nothing too bad. I think now I'm starting to like really get into the day-to-day stuff, which is pretty cool.
I remember when I was going to field training, I was leaning a lot on Staff Sergeant Barnes.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, I remember like how like critical like she was for me, because like my like airplane like travel dates would change, and then she would be like right there, and then I was like, oh, thank God, I'm gonna go home and like see my family tomorrow, or like this evening. So yeah,
that's awesome.
So closing statements. Oh, actually, let me see. Because I have. Let's see. I'll cut this out the podcast. Don't worry.
No, leave it in. It gives it some quirk.
Yeah. Blooper reel.
Let's see. What piece of advice do you have for 400s that are about to commission?
Remain humble.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a lot of things. The biggest things that like Air Force, what I've always heard people talk about, especially like enlisted people, officers when they're coming from like ROTC or USAFA, it's always like, oh man, they got that brass now and they're all just like big-headed, and you know, like they can do all this and that, and I have this much power and all that type of stuff. Just remain humble, honestly. Like, yeah, you great accomplishment, of course, but just stick your head down and just continue trying to make each day better, whether it's like at the work or just anyone's personal lives and stuff like that. Just keep your head down, keep grinding. It's honestly, you just started, you know.
Right. Let's see. I'm sorry, my voice is just changing right now. All of a sudden.
Puberty.
What was the Air Force experience better than you thought it would be, and in what ways?
Without a doubt, yes. For one, just I didn't realize it was going to be such a family. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I have like lifelong friends now that never thought that would happen. You know, I thought it'd just be a regular day to day, like just job or whatever, but with a lot of different demanding things. But just the sense of family in the Air Force is freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend of mine that I went to basic training with. We actually went to MEPS together. It's pretty much like the processing plant before you go to basic training. And so we went to MEPS together, we went to basic training, we went to our tech school together, same class.
That's cool.
Yeah, we were both stationed in Germany at the same time. That was our first assignment. And now he's in San Angelo, so like an hour and a half away.
Oh.
So like it's really cool seeing that.
So you're all like career brothers.
Yeah, right. It's really crazy. But that's one thing that I didn't expect at all. Another thing, like I said, traveling. I'm a big fan of traveling now. It's pretty awesome. Didn't think I would have that opportunity for sure. But it goes to say I'm like really appreciative of the Air Force and would love to do anything I can to give back. So
nice. Let's see. What things do you wish you would have known before you began your career in the Air Force?
Ooh. Honestly, nothing. I think I'm glad I came in it as I did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I would, I don't know. I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that I wish I would have known. I think everything hit me when it was supposed to hit me since I've been in. So
Like in the right kind of
right
processes.
Precisely.
You already answered that question. Who were like the most influential people to you? What's the
Actually,
one?
I didn't. There's another guy, one of my very first supervisors. His name is Harris. He just put on Master Sergeant. When I first got to Germany, I didn't have a GTC, a travel card or whatever, so I couldn't pay for like lodging when I first got there, like a hotel or anything like that. And so he took it upon himself and said, "Hey, you'll just come to my house, chill on the couch and all that type of stuff." And got there, 18 years old, didn't even know what was going on, experiencing jet lag for the first time. And my mom, she's like calling me, "Oh, how's it going? Are you okay?" And stuff like that. I was like, "Yeah, it's fine, it's good." And she's calling like every day, and I'm like just starting to get annoyed. It's like, whatever. She was like, "Yeah, what do you want? I mean, what do you need?" I was like, "Honestly, I don't know what I need. It is what it is." And he saw like some of it like affecting me at work, and he was like, "Yeah, like how's your parents doing?" It's like, "Oh, well, yeah, my mom, she's actually like just nagging me to death. Like I love her, trust me. I'm like complaining a lot, but she's awesome." But he was like, "Yeah, give me your email and I'll email it for you if you want me to." I was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome." That took like a huge load off my shoulders and all type of stuff. So in between that and him just taking the time out to help me out whenever I needed it, I told him, I was like, "I don't know how I'm going to repay you. Like, thank you, I appreciate that." And he was like, "Actually, funny you say that. I don't want any like monetary value at all. I just want forever in your career, if anyone else needs help, like I helped you, you just pass on that favor, and then you ask the same of them. You ask them to do the same." And I was, ever since then, that's what my main motto is. Like, how can I help someone? And then whenever I need help, I just pass on the favor. And that's been like the biggest mantra since I've been in that. Like every day I think about that. It's a pretty awesome thing.
Cool. What is the one most common thing about your career field that you want to debunk?
I don't know. I haven't really looked at the outside in for my career field.
Okay, no problem. So we'll get to the closing remarks right here, or the closing statements. Is there anything you would like to share with the cadets at this attachment about yourself? Advice, observations, personal information?
I actually saw that question yesterday, and I just told that story. So, dang it. Any person like advice?
So just help others.
Yeah.
Continue helping others.
That's how we change the world, one person at a time.
Right.
Just helping one person at a time. That's about it.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Staff Sergeant Taylor, for coming on the podcast.